Maybe we won't have to be on YouTube again.
Go to Twitch. Oh, good. Arthur sees us. We're live.
Hello, everybody. The Ark has landed. That's right. We got all the reviews and all that. So we're not even really going to talk about it. I'm going to give it a mention at the beginning of the show. I'm talking about the new Ark GPU is out. That's the most exciting thing that's going to happen today. Hopefully.
And we are live on Twitch like normal. Unlike last week, where Twitch exploded.
How's everybody doing this week? We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We got a new kernel. It counted to 6. That's brilliant. Debian firmware. Vulkan drivers that are open source. I know. What's a big deal? For NVIDIA. That's right. Now you're excited.
Yeah.
Playing with control surfaces on Linux because you like moving things around in meat space. And a way to make some vintage clicks for modern SSDs. Oh, yes. All that. And probably like one or two more things. Who knows? Hi.
Hey everyone. Aw, hi Artherin. I am doing well.
So last chance I got to take a look at general disarrays in our Discord. I saw Linux Nero posted something about easy anti-cheat and containers or something.
Yeah, Docker. Yeah.
Was he just talking out of his pinky toes?
I haven't looked at the article that he posted.
I don't think. Did he cite a source?
I think so. Oh no, I guess he didn't. Okay.
All right.
I must have looked it up.
Because that sounds like something he just made up.
Yeah.
So far this week's going well, man. We're about halfway through it. Had a good time last night, racing around, loading up some new tracks, doing the Trackmania thing, and getting new people in. And Joe joined us, and Kraken arose from his perpetual slumber and joined back in.
Yeah.
I think we had about like 8 people in last night.
Yeah,
and that's
PT
always
came
fun.
in too. He wasn't in voice, but he came in and played.
And that was a good time. Bunch of good maps. I went through, revised the playlist. Got some new stuff in there. Pretty nice. Excited about that. Then tomorrow I'm going to be back with Jordan, back for Blood. That's going to be fun. And Friday, a little more Trackmania voting points mode. And Saturday, Linux Gamecast Weekly. Yeah, it is already Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Aw. Hi, Effects Boy forever. Yeah, I know. I can't believe it's Wednesday also. It just flew by this week.
There we go. Now let me take a... Do I need to come up on that?
We have one of the filthy wizardry.
Maybe I can...
known as Ven Stone. But true Artherin. It's for LGC Weekly. I don't think I'm a filthy wizard, am I? Maybe in association. I have thrown chairs before.
It could be like how you finish a track, Jill. You can be filthy wizard adjacent.
Yes, true.
All right, everybody. We got about 7 minutes before go time. I got things locked and loaded. We're getting ready to go, making things happen. I got to close that out.
Let's see.
And let me get back on top here.
Oh, Filthy Sorceress. That's a good one, Artherin. Yeah, I like that. Or Filthy Mage. But I like Sorceress. Sorceress. That's good. Oh. Penguin-y mug today? Woohoo! I realized I hadn't used that one in a while. Yay, lots of penguins. I should count how many penguins are on this mug. There are a lot. Yeah, my nephew got me this. And he goes, Jill, you'll never believe where I got this. he got this at the Dollar Tree, of all places. It was $1. I couldn't believe it. So it's really nice. So it's obviously some like overstock from another store. It looks like it was like a Target item at one time. Yay, FX boy. I think everyone needs more penguin mugs, huh?
There used to be some different, what was the place called? Big Lots?
Yeah, Big Lots is still around here.
And I remember the first time I'd went in one, it was like dangerous, man. They had stuff piled up and just shoved in corners, and you could find some interesting things there. The last time I went to a Big Lots, I was like, Big Lots. You went corporate, you sold out. It's just like any other store at this point. It's all nice and organized.
It's clean, yeah.
Yeah, and like regular brand name stuff. You know, it's not just shoved full of like, discontinued things. Look at that. Bot picked up good.
Yeah.
5 minutes before.
Okay. I'll be right back.
And I got that video loaded. We're going to listen to hard drive noises. Let's see how they come through. Give me a second. Ooh. Ouch. Okay, that's going to be tricky to do. I had to test it. There we go. All right. So where can I buy an art card? A770. Shopping. Nope. Buy. So when do these things go on sale? When can I buy one? Like, is today just embargo day? I think that's it. Isn't, what is the, release date for the 40 series? October 12th, right? I'm assuming today is not the October 12th. No, that is next Wednesday. That is next Wednesday. So I will be able to post a different image on... There we go. That's what we can have up on the 12th. That'll be good. But yeah, I'm definitely thinking about picking one up. And by one, I mean the only one that is kind of interesting in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Of course, we're talking about the 770 limited edition, which is not a limited edition. That's just what Intel is calling their house brand limited edition. That's not confusing. Good job, Intel. It'll be a curiosity device. I mean, it kind of competes with 3060. I got a problem now. I got a problem because it's the only system I have with resizable bars, Jackbox. So it's not going to be very performant. I'm not necessarily concerned about how well it does or does not play video games, to be perfectly honest. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But at $350, I mean, might as well just pick one up to play with, right? Right? Linux commandments. I don't know. The AV1 encoding is going to be interesting. The problem is the AV1 encoding is we don't have any really real-world ways to test it right now. I'm still waiting on DaVinci Resolve. Hopefully there'll be an update to DaVinci Resolve that'll have the AV1 encoding before the 12th. Maybe. And I have no inside information on this. It's just a feeling that Twitch probably either by Friday or at the beginning of next week will announce support for AV1 ingestion. All the work's done in OBS, by the way. It's ready to go. But then things get like really crazy. NVIDIA cards might as well not exist. Like the 4090 and the 4080 and the 4070 that they accidentally put 4080 on. Because of the pricings, it's just outrageous. Like, if you spent that much on a 40 series, like, you wouldn't even tell anybody. You're like, I don't want to tell anybody I spent this kind of money on a video card. You'd be ashamed of it. But where they are interesting in media production is they have dual encoders. They have dual NVENC and not, I know some people have confused that with how many renders you can do right now, because you can do, like in Quadro, you can do up to 4 encodes at one time. They have dual chips for AV1. I mean, NVENC that's also capable of AV1. That is interesting. We'll see. But at $350, I might just have to pick one up to have. I don't know.
Yeah, under $400, it's like, just pick it up.
That's
Might as well play it with it.
Yeah, it's going to be like old school. It's going to be like owning an AMD card up until about 2 years ago.
Yeah, and it'll be first gen, so it'll be collector's item by the time the second and third ones come out.
There you go.
Hi, Donham. Aw, Donham, I like the Linux commandments. Yeah, I've seen those before. That's cool that it's on a mug.
All right. Let me get down to our outro song. And
hello,
we're gonna
Ralph.
Get underway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, nice, Donham. Awesome. Oh, that's perfect. I need to get that. That is great. That was a great present for you, Dawn. Mm-hmm. We are getting ready to go live. Well, we're already live. Just start
Getting ready
the
to
main
press
show.
the record button.
Yeah. Do you need me to clap then?
No, but you can if it makes you feel better.
Okay.
We got you from last week.
Okay.
All right, everyone. I think everything's good. So we try to do it. Let's see. Let's hit record. First record's easy. Second record requires clicking another thing. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 346 underway. Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vin Stone, that is Joe Bryan, and hey, you're watching us live on Twitch. We're back on Twitch this week because Twitch works.
Yay! Yeah, we had to use the YouTubes last week.
We did. It's important to have a backup, and if YouTube went down, I was prepared to try to stream using Odyssey, and I don't know how that was going to work, but you know what? I'm brave enough to try these things. Exciting week, and today just happened to be the day that Arc launched, so I spent most of my morning trying to ingest, like, okay, And it's all gaming, and it's all gaming. This is how I know I'm getting old. I'm like, I don't care about the games. Tell me about the media encoding. So we're just going to have to wait on that. But it seems like definitely a mixed bag. A lot of talk about that. But Jill, what have you been up to? You're back from your holiday. You went to like Disneyland 11 times, right?
Went to Disneyland a few days. You know, we go every month, so it's our staycation because we are pass holders, which is wonderful. But the reason we do staycation is because my husband works so often that we don't have time to go on a long, week trip somewhere. And so it was the only thing that was sad is that he was supposed to have a 4-day weekend and he only got 3. He got called into work. So that was sad to have one day without him. But the 3 days.
Steve could have been like, no, I can't make it in. Why? I'm on the teacups.
Yeah, true. But we made the most of it, and we did some things at Disneyland that Steve had never done, and that was really cool. I got him on Walt's the original fire truck that Walt drove on Disneyland. That was Walt's favorite vehicle, and so we got to ride in that, and that was very exciting.
Right on. Glad you guys had a good time. Glad Steve got some time off. That's always good to hear. I've been doing a bunch of stuff. Arc is Arc. I've been following that all morning, and it does seem kind of a catch on my end. I'm like $350. Like, do I just buy one? And I'm like, I checked before we went live. Like, oh, right. Next week we can buy them on the 12th.
Yeah. Well, Linus Tech Tips, I know, said the 750 they thought was the best buy because it was inexpensive, and it had the performance of an AMD RX 6600 and close to the GTX 3060. So that was for the price. It was good.
So the moral of the story is, you want to buy the 770 Founders Edition for $350 because it's got 16
gigs. Yeah, but it was limited. It's limited.
It's not. Intel had to come out and explain to everyone. They're like, the limited edition means nothing. That is what they're calling their Founders Edition. So there's no rarity whatsoever to the limited edition, according directly from Intel. It's just the Founders
Edition.
Yeah. Okay. Instead of Founders Edition, Intel's decided to call it Limited Edition. And as you can tell, it's caused zero confusion whatsoever.
Yeah, it did.
The 770 at $350, I'm like, maybe we'll see. I'll probably break down and just buy one, but you're going to need resizable bar in order to make these things even in contention, kind of, sort of, maybe matching performance with a 3060.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. I don't have any. The only system I have with a resizable bar is the Jackbox is running the 5600G, and that doesn't have a discrete GPU, and it doesn't need it. So I don't know. I want to play around with the AV1 encoding. It's pretty much that. On top of that, man, I talked about it maybe last week before last. I got a Tascam 1608 audio interface, and it just does a bunch of cool stuff that I'm finally got a chance this week to sit down and play with it. Nice GUI mixer with EQ, compression, just all built right into it. And what excites me about it is the usability of the GUI that's been created for the onboard DSP and everything like that, because people are not going to recoil from it. Like, oh yeah, I know how to use an EQ. I know how to set up compression. And it's just brilliant. It's available from Linux, right on Linux, and pretty easy to build, pretty easy to set up. Works out of the box. It's USB. So stay tuned for that. Next couple of weeks, I'm going to be playing with that. On top of everything else, I'm finally getting around to migrating the Linux Gamecast website off of HostGator.
Wow. It's been there for ages.
It has been on HostGator since HostGator used to be a new upstart cool company.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I've had my ups and downs with HostGator, and we don't have a cheap package. I write HostGator a check every month too. We also have 600 gigabytes of warm storage.
Yeah.
So this is not an easy thing to move around, and which is basically past couple of I'm probably saying like 6 to 8 months. I know everybody's got a horror story for every hosting VPS provider or anything like that, but I don't know what has happened recently, and it's not so much that the downtime You at home probably don't even notice, because I also write Cloudflare a check every month. And our site is replicated through, they have a WordPress thing that keeps like edge caches of the site. So normally you wouldn't even notice it being down. And I don't even notice it, to be honest with you, until I try to log in and do stuff. And when I do that, I'm like, what's going on? My problem with HostGator, and it should be with any service provider you ever deal with, is if you have a problem, tell people, hey, we're having a problem. This is what's going on. This is how we're just radio silence this entire time, not even acknowledging anything. So I've been slowly moving stuff over to another provider, and I might be able to flip the switch on it this weekend, because, the best time to do it's on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. Your time available during the week before you play Trackmania.
I just want, I'll deal with all the problems on Monday.
Oh, okay.
No, that's been something I've been working on for a while. Just to, it's sad when you've been with a company for so long and you've watched them like just go.
Oh.
They got bought out by, Big Corpo.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, and it just went from like, oh man, that's a shame. Anyway, Jill, Kernel 6.0 is out, and we were talking in the pre-show. It's always like the weird tweets. It's the weird tweets. 6.0 got released. I had downloaded it and compiled it. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever. But I was in here working on some stuff, and I just posted a little screenshot. I'm like, hey, look, it works, and here's a link to the Linux kernel mailing list, or might have been kernel name, wherever I post it, LWN. And I come back and check the next morning. It's got like almost 300 likes on. I'm like, you people are weird, man. Like, really? People were really excited about it, Joe.
Yeah. Well, I think it is exciting. Yeah, and it's a new number too. So yes, on Sunday, Linus Torvalds, he officially announced the release of Linux kernel 6.0. And he stated, as is hopefully clear to everybody, the major version number change is more about me running out of fingers and toes than it is about any big fundamental changes. But of course, there's a lot of various changes in 6.0. We've got over 15,000 non-merge commits in there in total, after all. And as such, 6.0 is one of the bigger releases, at least in numbers of commits in a while. Yeah, too many commits for fingers and toes also as well. But this version has so much more hardware support, and of course the range of bug fixes and performance improvements, including performance improvements for Intel Xeon's Ice Lake, AMD Ryzen Threadripper, and AMD EPYC processors, thanks to scheduler changes and other kernel energy tweaks. Ven will be happy about that when he gets his new AMD EPYC. And lots of new hardware support, including support for Intel's 4th generation Xeon server chips, Sapphire Rapids, and their 13th generation Raptor Lake core chips. And support for AMD, which provides a kernel graphics driver for their RDNA 3 GPU. And both the OpenRISC and Long Arch architectures gain support for PCI buses, and RISC-V, this is important, RISC-V also ships with the new default configuration capable of running Docker. Very important. We need Docker in the Linux community to work. And the ARM-based Lenovo ThinkPad X13S laptop, which runs on the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8CX Gen 3, is actually now supported. And that was a very important support there. And there's also support for the ext4 file system to fetch and set UUIDs stored in a file system superblock. So if you would like to see all the changes, then there is a lot more major changes in this kernel. Despite what Linus says, there's a lot of updates and changes in this kernel. Go read through the show notes for the links.
A couple of things I'm excited about, actually, legitimately. A couple of things, as in two. DOS.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to. Now, we're talking about zero-copy network transmission. Yes, that could be handy in my particular situation in the studio.
Nice.
And buffered writes to XFS. That's a file system, kids. It's one I use because I'm writing big, honking chunks of streaming data every time. I posted a screenshot of what I like to call Linux Ucast IKEA edition of all the bits and bobs and recorded in the chunks. About 300 gigs for an episode before you take all the bits and you transcode them out. Even this show right now is being written, I don't know, probably about 90 megabytes a second right now for the recording.
Yeah.
XFS, happy to see that. Now, I got it, downloaded it, I built it on Jackbox, and I'm thinking, what about the RT patch set? Because they've been working on pulling in some of the RT patch set, and it turns out there was a little hiccup with like the last little bit, so cleaned it, got the RT patch set, patched it, rebuilt it, full hard RT, up and working, no problems, no complaints. Then I got Brave. Yesterday, or the day before, it might have been the day before yesterday. Time's weird these days. I decided to build 6.0 just out of curiosity on Jackbox because I wanted to see, not on Jackbox, on Threadbooper. Because I wanted to see, man. I wanted to see, is it going to work with the NVIDIA drivers? And is it going to build with Blackmagic? Turns out the latest NVIDIA drivers, not from, as we learned, Pop OS or Ubuntu or whoever, you probably already got them in Arch though, is up and running. Just use the run file, installed kernel module, good to go. More surprisingly was the Blackmagic modules, which I have a gang of Blackmagic hardware that requires evil proprietary binary blobs that'll, steal children or something to use with the capture cards. They all work too. I had zero, Jill, none. I had no faith that those were going to build. I was like, well, you know what? We'll just have to see, right? We'll just have to see. And
wow. That's amazing, though. Linux has come so far that now you can install a new kernel and things just working out of the box. Woohoo! Who'd have thought?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing, Joe. The main reason that I ended up compiling 6.0 and putting it on Threadbooper, I was curious though. Like, maybe we're going to use it, maybe we're not. Because I had to answer a question. I wasn't going to bother with it because I like stable. But somebody asked on Twitter, they're like, hey man, can it run Crisis? So okay, here's what I'm telling you. Yeah, I went through all of this trouble just to compile a kernel so I could do this. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
This is kernel 6.0. This is the type of human being I am. So there is that proof that kernel 6.0 can, in fact, run Crisis. You don't have to worry about it. Now, this was all done on Debian, as you might have just saw from a screenshot. I'm running a Debian Bookworm right now, which is Debian testing. I put that on both of the boxes because it was getting to the time. There comes a time when you're running Debian stable where you have to start looking ahead, and you typically switch over to testing, 12, 13 months out, just to kind of keep abreast, like what type of curveballs. And I normally do it on these two boxes over here. Decided not to do it that way this time. Got it on Jackbox, got it on Threadbooper. And one thing that has been in contention up for a vote recently is what are they going to do about closed source firmware? Because it is 2022 and we're heading into 2023. It's just an evil fact of life. You need firmware to boot devices, like your Wi-Fi chipsets. That's a big one. GPUs, things like that, not working well enough out of the box to get an operating system installed. And Debian's run into that because they have a very strong line in the sand about not including non-free firmware. Now, there was always, not always, but effectively always has been the unofficial version of Debian, which was from Debian, but it was kind of spooky. You're like, I don't want to install this unofficial whatever. And they wanted to clarify that. So they held a vote about what to do about non-free firmware. And votes were cast. They ended up choosing option 5, which I thought was kind of interesting. The change SC for non-free firmware, an installer, one installer. What does that mean? It means that the upcoming installers are going to have an option just to install non-free firmware.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah, exactly. And then, this is great news. And this is actually the option that I wanted for Debian 12, Bookworm, and for the future. Because including non-free in the installer is just easy peasy for beginners and advanced users alike, as well as the option that many other distros use in their installers, like Ubuntu. I mean, it's the easy answer.
It is, but it's also a sad day for my brothers and sisters who are true open source advocates.
Yes.
Like, they had to find a way to handle this.
Yeah,
and
they
it's
did.
just the cruel reality. Modern hardware needs firmware to load, and you want things like your GPUs and network cards working out of the box. So another thing to come out with Debian 12, brave new world, right?
Yeah,
they're going to be including, and not just inclusion, because I know as soon as I say this, you're like, but then you can already get Pipewire in Debian 11. It's going to be the default in Debian 12. That's kind of interesting.
The newest version of Pipewire. Yeah. I know they'd been testing it on SID. So this is really great to hear that it moved over to stable.
Yeah. I mean, Pipewire has been available in Debian for quite some time.
Yeah, but it was an older version.
And, it's Debian stable.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It was whatever version it was when they're like,
couple years ago.
Locked. So it's good to see this. If you're running Debian testing right now, you're going to get the latest and greatest if you want that. But, being default is kind of the big thing, shipping default. You're not going to have Pipewire out of the box. You're going to have Pipewire out of the box. You're not going to have Pulse Audio out of the box. And that's going to change things up. It's going to change the ecosystem.
Definitely. Yeah, that's probably when Ben's going to change.
Interesting times. Oh, yeah. Absolutely not.
He's not. Yeah, not all the bits are working for Pipewire on Pipewire yet for Ben.
People who can't figure out how to use Jack, Joe.
Yes, I guess that's true.
I mean, if you want to be brutal about it, it has all the functionality that we've had for the last 2 decades with a Jack.
Yeah. So true.
No, I have nothing but love and respect for the Pipewire project, and I look forward. It's still very much a work in progress. That's the way I don't play around with it too much.
Yeah.
It's a moving target, which is good. It's under heavy development. But, we're talking like Debian 12. So, 16, 17 years from now when Debian 12 comes out, hey, maybe we'll be ready.
Yeah.
Now, this, no one expected. This is kind of dropped. Yes. I think Jill beat me to it.
Yesterday morning when I woke up, I read this.
It turns out because I was checking my email and I got a buddy that works at Collabra.
Yes.
And I should say the show does. And we get like, hey, this cool thing we just did. Maybe you want to talk about it. And I was like, okay, let me get a show notes. And Jill, you already had it in the notes.
Yeah. So yes, this is wonderful news and something us Linux users have been waiting for a very long time. Better open source support for our NVIDIA GPUs on Linux. So there is a new Vulkan graphics driver for NVIDIA hardware called NVK, which will be implemented in the Mesa open source graphic stack. This will replace the NVIDIA Nouveau stack. And thanks to some of the great devs at Collabora and Red Hat for scratch building this new reference Vulkan driver for NVIDIA. And currently it supports NVIDIA Turing and later architectures, but support for Kepler, Maxwell, and Pascal NVIDIA GPU architectures is coming very soon. And it will just be so nice to have NVIDIA open source graphics drivers finally as good as AMD and Intel's. I've been waiting for this day. It would be nice to be able to game and do encoding with the open source drivers without having to use the proprietary. But completely that may not all happen, but at least it looks like we're going to be able to play games a lot nicer.
I would say games because as soon as you get into the encoding and stuff, you're like, oh, you mean install the binary drivers?
Binary blobs. Yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of one of the real things, man. Let's talk about Nuvo. It's been around for a long time. What do you, if you might have run into it, and I know anybody who's been dealing with NVIDIA on Linux for the past 2 decades, I think Linus, the squeaky one, not this one.
Linus Tech Tips.
He was like, should we, when they were talking, he's like, should we use the open source drivers for NVIDIA or the closed source? I'm like, that's not even a question. Why would you, no, you never. Here's what you expect from Nuvo drivers. Hopefully, if you get lucky, a GUI to install with. That's really all you expect. You expect it to like maybe kind of work well enough to maybe click a next button a few times just to save you from doing that text install. And that's if you were lucky, because, they're the reverse engineered drivers. And it's amazing that they were good enough for that, and for older stuff, they kind of work, but they're missing things like power control and stuff like that. The landscape, it's really changed in the last few years. They kind of go over this on the Collabora blog. They really do. With the introduction of the GSP firmware, open source kernel drivers from a couple of months ago, and NVIDIA did that dump with all the headers for the 3D compute stuff. It's not documentation, but it's a lot of new breadcrumbs, and which has led to this. So like, hey, we can start sticking this stuff together. And it's kind of an ideal time to just reboot the Nuvo driver stack because not to knock it, but we probably can do a lot better. And it's really early days with this. Really, really early days. Like, NVK, where's it at right now? Let me tell you where it's at. Don't bother reporting bugs. That's where it's at right now. And if you worked with any other project and like, got it, I understand. Very, very heavy development. Now, progress has been pretty good with this. They say they're about 20% of the way there if you squint a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you want to play with it at home, if you want to contribute to it, you can do that. You can pull the main branch NVK from Nuvo Mesa project, build it, give it a try. You might be wondering, talking a lot about Vulkan and gaming and all that. What about OpenGL? They kind of get 2 options with that. They can do a rewrite of Gallium, which turns out is not as daunting as it sounds. But what I hope they do, just for the neat factor and like, ooh, cool, is to use Zinc for OpenGL, which is the wrapper for OpenGL using Vulkan.
Yeah.
Weird times. Exciting times.
Out of nowhere. Like you were saying, Ben, I was amazed when I woke up this morning and read the article. I'm like, whoa.
It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting to think like 5 years from now, you can just pop in like your NVIDIA card, like your AMD card, and everything's going to go great. Strange. It's strange because like step 1's always been like, maybe I can just get to a TTY so I can install my run file, get binary drivers up and running. Having a legitimate, to what Joe was saying, open source option, something that you can play the games on, and, just a good first desktop experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why AMD GPUs are so loved by the community. They just work. Games just work. Everything just works. So, and Intel too. And now we have Intel Arc. So it's about time.
People started saying that about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's not forget the tried and true dumpster fire.
Oh, yeah.
Of ATI and AMD.
Yeah,
Linux
it took them
support.
a long time.
It took them open sourcing and let the community do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember that.
And they were smart to do that. They didn't
have an option.
Yeah. And they weren't doing it quick enough.
They were about to go under. Like Ryzen was a Hail Mary pass for AMD. They had already sold their headquarters and leased it back to themselves just to get the cash.
Yeah. That's right.
Not to get back on the GPUs, we still got that AMD announcement for the RDNA 3.
Yeah, which I'm really excited about.
So come to think of it, next week I'm not going to buy my ARC.
Oh, okay. You're not going to buy it until ARC yet?
I'm not going to buy the ARC yet. I'm going to let AMD come out and let's see what AMD has, because I said it time and time again, encode and compute is why I have Team Green. That's why I've chosen this particular soulless corporation over this other particular soulless corporation. And I would like to be able to Maybe move over to Solus Corporation 2 or Solus Corporation 3.
Yeah.
Just to have options in my Solus Corporation buying experience.
So true.
I think it sounds better when you say Solus Corporation instead of team.
Yeah. Team red, team blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Team green.
Oh, man. So I did a thing. It's finally out. It's been out for patrons for a little bit of time. I like to give them, just more early access about things. And it's about these guys. These guys over here, you see the little wheel? For the audio listeners, I have something that everyone thinks is a mixer because they see the faders on it. And I'm like, oh, that's a mixer. No audio goes through this whatsoever. It's incapable of processing audio. Same goes for the guy over here with a wheel on it. But it does have fader knobs and all that. These are MIDI control surfaces. That's all the information they carry is MIDI control. So I can translate movement from my hands into the DAW that's running over here, which is kind of handy and I kind of need it. And I decided to make a just definitive guide about how to get this up and running because there's two different types of control surfaces. There's a Mackie control surface and of course there's MIDI CC control surfaces and how to use them with Jack. I understand that you can use them with ALSA. I also understand there's about 13 people on this planet I trust to interface directly with ALSA, and neither of them or any of them work for with Reaper or with Audor. So I said, no, we're going to use Jack. And that's what I walk you through. And, you got to think of a control surface as like a pointing device, a mouse on methamphetamine. I mean, it's crazy what you can do. You can do the volumes, you got mute, fade, drop markers, activate plugins, all while zooming around in the timeline. And you do have those two types of control surfaces that I can show here in the video. That's one on the left. That is X-Touch 1, reasonably priced. X-Touch Compact before the end times happened was also reasonably priced. Not so much anymore. But we go through getting it set up. Audor's nice and quick, nice and simple. One main reason I did this because I kid you not, Joe Ryan, in order to get this up and running on Reaper with MIDI CC, you gotta install a plugin to install a plugin.
I know. I was really amazed by that. That's Reaper. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, most people don't know what to expect from Reaper because it's poorly, criminally, detrimentally not covered by people who, because you got your like Linux audio crowd, but there's a strong like floss things. Like we only use open source stuff for audio production. I'm like, that's nice. Some people need to get work done though.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from what you're doing. And the thing about Reaper is the knowledge base. It doesn't matter if it's the best project. It's the better project because of the knowledge base. It wins the popularity contest, which is not necessarily the best thing. But if you search for something and you put Reaper after it, you're going to find an answer. Yeah. Of the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people who used Reaper, and there's going to be conversations. You do that and you type in Audor, it's going to take you to the Audor forum. And a lot of times you'll get like 4 posts in and like, you need to ask this question in our IRC. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've done that. Not knocking Audor at all. You type in Bitvig for that reason, probably get something very similar. So Reaper is popular, and a lot of people coming from Windows are familiar with Reaper. That's just what they use. So I wanted to make sure all that information is there. In fact, we use Reaper. Why? Because it works better for live production. It does. So yeah, all that's there over at Linux Gamecast. I'll walk you through it. If you get any questions, leave them on the YouTube video. If you want direct line text support, you can do that as well by becoming a patron. Patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. That's going to get you into our super hyper secret. We can't tell them about it. That's called Discord.
Yes, it is.
Where we hang out the other 6 days of the week. And they're cutting up, doing our thing because I've always made it a point. I've always like, you join other shows and I do the same thing. Like, people who are doing presenters or YouTube stuff, like they're never in their chat. We're always in our chat because we don't have a separate Slack. We don't have a matrix. This is where everything takes place 24/7. It goes into our main general reason. However, we're not trying to milk you for money. We got a thing that ties our IRC, our Twitch chat, and Discord, all live chat, free of charge. Boom, right there. That's what you're seeing. Nobody's typing right now. I put them all to sleep, Jill.
Oh, my Steve husband is typing, but he's always typing like 90% of the time.
He's thinking about it.
He's thinking of it. It takes him a while on his phone, and he's got a new phone he's learning how to use.
With the 5Gs.
Or he's at work.
But I do want to thank our recent patron, DSN Joe, who joined us last night for Trackmania.
Yeah,
that's something you can also do.
Awesome.
He has increased his pledge, which was fantastic.
He's a sea monster now.
Racing around, and I like that. You know, we have like adult community night on Tuesdays and Fridays with our Trackmania, and somebody's joining in and like, especially when they're new to it. I'm like, all right, I get this. And they take a break and they come back like, oh, okay, I get this. We got to do this. I want to perform on Friday, and always try to do some fun stuff on Friday. So it'll be good hanging out with everybody there. But a bunch of bonus things we got over at Patreon, trying to sweeten the deal. If you can help us out, we very much appreciate it. Also, we got Amazon wish list over at linuxgamecast.com. I got a studio wish list. Jill's got one for her studio. I got, it's not even a wish list, just an equipment guide, all on Amazon. I'm not telling you to buy anything on Amazon. Go buy it on, well, I used to be able to say Newegg. I don't know better than Amazon these days. Buy it somewhere. But somebody picked up a little bit of kit from our Amazon wish list for the studio. And I'm holding it in my hand right now.
Yeah. Who got you that, Ven?
It's Unoid.
Yay, Unoid.
That is Unoid.
Thank you so much, Unoid.
This is a 2 terabyte 970 Evo Plus, and I got to respect Unoid because it all led from our equipment. You know, it was looking for some audio stuff, and I'm like, hey man, just use this. It's like, I didn't even know you had that. That's why I brought it up last week. Like, by the way, we got all this. Then I get a message in Discord later on. It's like, so maybe you want the PCI Express 4 version of that drive. I'm like, no, just the 3. I'm just talking, like, whatever, doing some stuff. It's like, fine, here, take it. So there it is. Thank you very much. I've even named it. So now we have Steamy, Crunch, Backup, and this one is called, what is it called, Joe?
I don't remember.
I never told you.
Yeah, that's why. I'm getting old.
This drive
no, you never told me.
is now known as Dump.
Ah, okay.
So thank you for the dump. You know,
thank LGC you for cares. The dump. That
all
was
right.
Good.
That's enough shameless self-promotion. Let's slice into a hard drive. Can you imagine eating an HDD?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, you just cut it with a knife and high knife.
Yeah, it takes a little bit more than a knife. Yes.
Magnets. Look at that, a 1 terabyte drive. Doesn't that seem so small?
Yeah, I know. It does.
It is just drive size. Like, what I even think about this, like 2 terabyte, I'm like, to me, this is unfathomable amounts of data.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's not. Like, intellectually, I drop this in. I'm like, well, that's 3/4 of the way full. You know, in a world where you can reasonably buy like an 8 terabyte SSD for, $500-600. But you're missing out. You're missing out with these new drives, kids.
Yes.
You're not getting the experience that a lot of us grew up with.
So
and this
true.
tiny dongle is here to bring back the battled times, because this is the HDD clicker. It's using an ATT tiny microcontroller to really, help remind you of the battle days of PCs making noise when you touched them. Now, basically, this operates pretty simply. If the hard drive lights up, the LED, sending the signal, this thing starts screeching for you. It starts making noise.
Yeah,
and
nice.
Let's give it a listen. You want to give it a listen, Joe?
Yes, absolutely.
Right,
I want to hear that
thing
sound.
Sounds like. All right. All right. I don't want to blow anybody.
Here's it defragging in DOS.
ASMR, right?
Yep, absolutely. It's as cool as a floppy disk being read or written.
It's made even sweeter knowing that he's defragging an SSD. Like, don't do that. I mean, it's not really going to hurt it, but it's wholly unnecessary. And I think it's, you've listened to it. I'm like, almost sounds right, but I think the problem is it would probably sound like 98% right if it was inside the case.
Yeah. Yeah,
it wouldn't
true.
quite
It
be
needs
as
that
sharp.
metallic.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta get that, gotta bring out the resonance that you would only get from your PC case. And
An old steel case.
right. It's
Yeah.
like vinyl records, man. It's like, oh, no. It's gonna be desktop. It can't be a tower. Tower doesn't have the same resonance, or you gotta get the right experience. Now, I got to thinking though, these things are like only $25. I'm like, that's an excellent gag gift. You're like, what do you mean gag gift? I'm like, you hide it in your friend's PC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. I think that's perfect. And this is such a fun and wonderful project. And my only concerns is if you don't really want to hear the click of death, of course, with your new drive, your SD drive, you wouldn't want to hear the click of death. But normally, they just die. So I guess if one's dying when you're running this, it just stops.
SSDs have that advantage though, because you would feel very guilty, especially because an HDD, especially back in the day, they'd let you know. They'd let you know. You sometimes
Absolutely.
would have months before it would go completely dead.
Yeah.
And that entire time you're thinking, man, I really should move the data off that drive. It's probably going to die then it would die.
Yeah.
And you would go, why did I never move the data off that drive? I've known about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it finally died and you couldn't go, shock. Like, that's 100%
Yeah.
Aw.
And then you had to go put it in the freezer and see if you can get your data off it, which sometimes you could. So
I just wouldn't restore it back up.
yeah.
No, SSDs and NVMEs completely alleviate you from that responsibility because, as Jill said, they just die. You're like, it doesn't work now. And it's usually the controller, not the flash memory, that wears up. But after seeing this, I was thinking, okay, we need a couple of other versions. One, I want a version of this that simulates that of a 15K SCSI drive.
Oh, yeah.
That you can't make that human noise. It's extra sharp. Like you can just hear it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, when I pull the power from that, it's going to take 2 minutes to spool down. I'm looking at you, ultra wide SCSI 2 Barracudas.
Yeah. What about even louder? My Micropolis and Seagate full height SCSI drives. When they make that click, not only does the computer shake, but it moves. Clunk. In my Deck Alpha, that's what happens.
I got regular drives in my Deck Alpha.
No, I've actually got the original full height drives that Deck used in there. I also have some newer SCSI drives in there too.
I haven't had a modern HDD in about a decade. I could tell you the last time I bought one. I was thinking about it, and I think, they're probably not loud these days. They're probably like super quiet. You could barely hear them. You gotta like hold them up to your ear to hear the.
They're much quieter.
Then I was still thinking. I was like, what's another way to make noise? What's another blast from the past that kids don't get to experience? And I thought about it. Let's do yet another device that brings back that whoosh of 30x CD-ROM drives.
Oh yeah. That's another one.
You remember those things power it up? We're not talking like 4x. We're not even talking 8x, maybe some 16x. By the time we got to like 24x, 30x, 40x, 50x, they turned into dust busters.
Yeah,
legitimately, you would spool up a CD, you would hear it from the other room. It would and things would start shaking. You're like, oh man, I hope that doesn't come apart.
That's another one.
If you've ever seen a CD-ROM come apart at 50x, it is catastrophic. Mm-hmm. There's YouTube videos of that. Go take a look at them.
Oh, yeah. So, and then there's also zip disk. We could get the click of death from this zip disks.
There you go. You can just we just need like an entire
or my
board.
Oh my gosh. On my SideQuest drives.
Sky's the limit. You got a speaker in there. So we need different samples.
Yeah.
For different things.
Well, another thing, Van, I actually like about this project is something that I do because you don't hear the sound of modern SD and NVMEs, is I'm constantly I just, out of habit, I just check my, HDD LED light on the case. I've been doing that since I've gotten these quiet drives. And I think that's part of the reason why is because I'm not hearing the click, and I like to see a representation of the hard drive working.
I just open HTOP.
Yeah, well, you can do that too. But I like looking at the light too. I'm looking at it right now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, mine's plugged in. Give me credit there. At least I plugged it in. Most of the times, I wouldn't even bother plugging that in. Like, I don't want like any lights or what. But I plugged it in on this build. So, yeah, there you go. There you go. Make noise. And again, it'll be a great present for your parents when you're home for the holidays. Put it in their machines. Don't tell them about it. And just tell them it's normal.
Yes.
Don't do that. I will deny recommending it to you. All right, everyone. We got to get out of here. We're running overtime. But before we do, let's roll some credits.
Here's our credits. Aw, I see. Yeah, we have FX Boy in the house right now in chat, and Inertia, and our Theron, and Steve Husband, and Kelvin Shadewing. And
I want to thank our advisors, Megas and Arthur and Barbara and Scott, Tommy Cass, Mike G, MT Drummer 7, Kohaku, Pebble. Oh, I missed it.
Yeah.
You know it, Abstraction and Super Death Dude. Chicago, Level C Monsters.
We got DSNG Joe. Frosty. Oh, he's not in there yet. Ben's got to fix that because it just happened. We got all our chairlings. Oh, it's going by too quickly. I can't name them all.
Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your Linux flavored week. We'll see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Love you all. Aw, thank you, FX Boy. And bye, DSNG Joe. We're still around for a few minutes. Yeah, Inertia, it was nice to see you in the house. Do. Oh, Scoots. Hi, Scoots.
What are you talking about?
Don M. Don M. I meant to mention you at the end.
Policy updates page. Man.
Oh,
PayPal.
Rock Band. Clone, Inertia said. Cool.
Currently in a Rock Band clone hero?
Yeah.
Clone hero? I don't know. I've never played.
I've played Rock Band before.
Pretty sure I haven't.
I did not at my own house, but with a friend. It was fun to watch them be good at it.
All right. Okay, there's nothing crazy in the PayPal policy updates. I always check those. I always check stuff like that. It's like, there's no action needed by you, but you can possibly, yes, I'm going to review it. Why? Because at the last paragraph, you're like, haha, and we're going to cancel all the accounts for anyone named Ven or something like that. I'm like, no. Always read those boring legal things. You never know what you're going to find in them.
Yeah, sometimes you can get $100 back. We just got one of those lawsuit refund announcements in the mail for T-Mobile. Because our data was compromised by T-Mobile back when Steve Husband was using T-Mobile. Do.
I think the only rhythm thing I've ever played was Frets on Fire.
Oh, yeah.
Where you played with your keyboard. Let me see. Frets on Fire.
I don't think I've played that one. Let me look, because I know you've talked about it, but I don't think I've ever played that.
Man, it's still around.
Yeah, it's on SourceForge.
Yeah, it's one like that. Looks like a SourceForge page, doesn't it?
Oh, Inertia said it's pretty dead now. Not an update in a while. Let's see. 1.3.110.
You play it with the function keys on your keyboard.
That's cool. Oh, good. We have the Gamers Nexus one now. I've been waiting for that one. I've watched the Linus Tech Tapes. I've watched Jay's 2 Cents. I've watched the Bitwit one. And a few others.
His, like the main review has been up. That one came out earlier this morning. That's a teardown one.
Oh, okay. It's funny because I love the Gamers Nexus. I'm subscribed, but I always get his videos never pop up in my YouTube feed quickly like the other ones do for some reason, even though I watch him just as much. It's so annoying sometimes, the Google algorithm.
He's got to change the notification on the video from regular notification to all.
Yeah, I did, but the problem is I have so many subscriptions now, and I know that's what's confusing the algorithm.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When it's on all, it removes the algorithm. Anything that's posted, you get. There's like normal, then there's all.
Yeah. But I don't always get them all, and it's because I have so many subscriptions. Like if I got them all, my phone would never. All the notifications would be YouTube, because I have all on all my subscriptions.
Then you gotta get a better phone.
So Joe, a lot of my pink penguins are ones I've bought over the years, everywhere from Amazon to eBay to Etsy. I've had some handmade ones, and right now I have some on my some new pink ones on my wish list, or rainbow ones on my Amazon wish list for LGC. So I do have a few more I need to get. And some of them come from, a lot of the Tux ones come from Scale, the Southern California Linux Expo, and the Open Source Summit, and all the conferences I've been to. Oh, yeah. I've done that before, FX Boy. Yeah. It's just, I've been told by several other people who have developers who have as many subscriptions as I do that it just, after about 500, it times out and stops working correctly.
You only got 500?
No, I have several thousand. But they said at 500 is kind of the magic number. Like right now, I am full on my watch list. I had to create a new watch list because my watch list is full, and there's like 5,000 videos in there for watch later. So here's
like the logical thing. Why do you have notifications on? Like it would be impossible to go through them.
Well, it's mostly on like a couple hundred.
A couple hundred would be manageable with an RSS feed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's true. I had it set up with the RSS before. Like years ago, when YouTube was having issues with notifications.
The biggest battle I get in with notifications is not necessarily with YouTube, but another Google product is like on Android 12, silent notifications, and having to fight.
Oh.
Like there's multiple settings for multiple settings and multiple layers with notifications, where Android itself tries to be smart. And you realize just how dumb
Yeah.
it is.
I know, FX Boy. Yeah, I have to go through them. In fact, one of the annoying things that Google did several years ago, which I'm really, really annoyed by it, that's why I just kind of haven't dealt with it, is you used to be able to separate your subscriptions in folders. And I had them all cataloged, for the different subjects. And then they got rid of that. And that used to be an easy way to keep track, because then I would just set up, notifications all for a certain subject, like Linux podcasts. And when they got rid of that, it became a disorganized mess. And I haven't had the time to go through it. So, and before that, I played with the RSS feed, because that was very, very convenient. I had done that. Yeah, FreeTube is nice. I've got a couple other apps that I use on the phone, and FreeTube is one. Yeah, it's just so annoying when I follow so many of the other Linux vloggers and podcasters, and it's just, I've got several hundred just from them, and they're the kind of the priority. And then all the tech tubers, which I need to find out. Oh, boy.
Skeleton dude. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, he doesn't know the story of Frank.
Frank's not a story. Frank's a person, John.
Yeah. There is a story of Frank. DSNG Joe.
Frank. Frank's always been around.
He was in Ben's trunk for a long time, too.
I mean, I don't know where you found your Frank.
Yeah, Joe just opened a can of worm. Yeah. Frank.
I don't think anybody's ever met Frank's brother.
Okay, let's do that one. And then let's do Christmas Frank, because...
Frank's been around long enough to where he's went through phases.
Yeah, he has. It's not quite Christmas yet.
It's always Christmas for Frank, Joe.
Yeah, does he still have his, I haven't looked. Oh yeah, he still has it on.
Never takes it off. You try to take it off, he'll bite you.
Yeah. I remember the one year you did take it off. Aw, poor FX boy. Yeah, that's not enough all caps for that to happen, but I guess it is. Frank knows all.
Yeah, typing in all caps, you'll either figure it out or you'll get timed out by the bot. It's a binary thing. Oh man. All right, everyone. What do we got going on this afternoon? I got to get this out and done. And while I'm in here, I finally got that test cam in the rack. So I did load testing on it. Got to go record a bunch of stuff with it. Yep, practice some more Trick Media.
Yeah.
Everyone, I got the tracks. I swapped out a couple of tracks.
Okay, cool then.
And I put some extra harder ones in place of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna play those new tracks.
Everything's finalized, ready to go. I made sure I did it on a Monday, so no one has to worry about the tracks not being loaded when they went to practice. They were loaded like 45 minutes after last night, so we're good to go. Everything's loaded and ready to go. So hop in there if you want.
that happened to me a couple weeks ago, Ben, where it didn't load, and then all of a sudden when we started playing on Friday, I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't play this track. Oh boy. That only happened that one time.
Tomorrow night, I'm going to be back with Jordan Svang. Me and him are going to be back for Blood. That's going to be kicking off at 7:30 Eastern Time. We invite you to come join, participate if you want.
Yeah.
I don't think the event page has been posted in Discord yet, but I'm sure someone will get around to doing that. If not me, Jordan. With instructions, or if you want to participate, how you can join in as well. Because we always invite the community to come party with us.
Yeah. Aw, bye Inertia. Thank you for joining us. It's been a while that you were in chat. Yeah, Joe, I'm glad you're going to play.
And Friday, we'll be back with Trackmania.
Yeah.
Come do that.
Absolutely.
In fact, just head over to twitch.tv/schedule. Then ignore what I just said and go to twitch.tv/Linux Gamecast and click on schedule because that'll get you where you need to go. Or you can just go to linuxgamecast.com and mouse over. I think, does that work? Let me see. Live.
Oh yeah, FX Boy, come join us. It's so much fun. I'm loving Trackmania. And I'm actually competent at it now. Oh.
Schedule. Yeah. Look at that.
There we go.
See, everything's like laid out. And it'll adjust for your time. And you can't say, but I don't watch it. You're watching on Twitch right now. You're already there. Just click schedule. But, yeah, we'll be doing that Saturday. Back for Linux Gamecast Weekly. And we don't do anything on Sundays because I got to make a show on Sundays.
Yeah, I gotta take a break.
There's
Sunday
no break.
Well, Monday is the most break.
I grind. There's no break on Sundays, Jill. I haven't had a break in 10, 12 years on Sundays.
Yeah, I meant Monday.
All right. That's going to do it. We get any famous closing words, last closing words?
Oh, go out there and have some fun with your penguins. Keep those penguins marching.
Indeed. See you next week, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Love you all. Mm-hmm.